Have you ever sat down to play your favorite game, excited and ready to dive into hours and hours of grinding, only to find yourself completely drained and unmotivated by the time you're done? It's a feeling many of us know all too well, that creeping sense of exhaustion where the excitement fades and the fun starts to feel more like a chore. That is burnout, a silent joy killer that sneaks up on us, especially in grind-heavy games where the progression can feel like an endless uphill battle. It can take something we love and turn it into a task we dread, leaving us wondering how we got there in the first place. Hi everyone, I'm Hexy, and today we're tackling a topic that every gamer has faced at some point. While this video is heavily inspired by MapleStory, the game that I love to play and stream, the advice I'm sharing with you guys applies to any grind-heavy game. I will try to break down how I was able to steer clear from burning out, and most importantly, how I was able to enjoy the journey rather than just focusing on the destination. So what is burnout? Burnout in gaming happens when the effort we put in does not feel rewarding anymore. In a game like MapleStory or any grindy games, some triggers can include the never-ending grind, where players often aim for massive milestones like reaching out the next level cap or acquiring rare items. However, when these goals take weeks or even months to achieve, the process can feel more like a chore than an actual game. RNG frustration. In games where loot drops are random, spending hours and hours and hours completing bosses or dungeons without any meaningful rewards can lead to demoralization. You put in the effort but feel like you're getting nothing in return. Repetition without variety. Repeating the same activity over and over again, whether it's grinding mobs, running the same dailies, or even farming for materials, can lead to monotony. Without variation, even the most dedicated players can burn out. Now that we understand what burnout is and how it can occur in those grindy games, here are 5 practical tips to reduce burnout. Tip number 1. Break down your journey into smaller goals. Achievable goals like gain a certain percentage of experience a day, or even farm a resource for 2 hours, can and will help you feel accomplished without the pressure of perfection. Tip number 2. Play with the community. Whether it's hanging out in your favorite stream of that particular game, or sharing the grind with friends or even guildmates, just chatting while grinding can make the experience feel more social and less monotonous. Plus, celebrating victories together is way more fun than just being alone. Tip number 3. Celebrate small wins. Speaking of celebrating victories, every win counts, no matter how small. Take a moment to appreciate those milestones. It is progress after all. We often get so distracted by the bigger picture that we sometimes even forget what we have accomplished so far and tend to only get sidetracked by the negatives. Tip number 4. Diversify in-game activities. Instead, try to explore other in-game content like events, mini-games, even making new characters, for example. In some games where there is no other content than just grinding, then yes, I agree, this could be very challenging. However, changing things up usually keeps the game fresh. Tip number 5. Take breaks and rotate games. Sometimes the best way to avoid burnout is to simply step away, whether it's switching to a different game or even doing something offline. Taking a break is always something that I recommend because you'll return feeling refreshed and less mentally fatigued. Now that I defined what burning out is and provided 5 practical tips to help reduce it, here are some mindset shifts that I would definitely recommend players to consider before getting into games like this. Focus on the journey, not just the destination. Grinding doesn't have to be all about the end result. Try to appreciate the small moments like finding a cool looking map or even mastering a new boss mechanic. Don't compare your progress to others. As humans, we tend to have a competitive nature, and it's absolutely normal to see someone thrive and at some point envy their success. However, doing so in an RNG-gated progression game does not sound logical. See, when every single piece of gear you obtain in the endgame is gated by RNG, and enhancing said item is also dictated by RNG, you are totally powerless. Constantly dooming and thinking, "It should have been me!" will seriously ruin the enjoyment of this game. Accept RNG as part of the game. This is probably the biggest one for me. Treat RNG not as a roadblock, but as a part of the adventure. When you play games that have a progression system solely reliant on RNG, accept that there is nothing you can do to speed up the process, and the mental toll on you will significantly decrease. The unpredictability can make the eventual wins feel even sweeter. It's okay to slow down. Remember, games are supposed to be fun. There's no rush to reach the endgame. The game is a marathon, not a sprint. If you start by sprinting, you effectively just lost the game already. And the last one is to simply step back. If you ever feel burnt out in any grind-heavy game, you have to know when to take a step back. Focus on enjoying the experience and prioritize what makes the game fun for you. At the end of the day, burning out does not mean you're a bad gamer. It's just a sign to pause, reflect, and find new ways to enjoy the games you love. I hope this video was helpful for anyone out there struggling with burning out or stuck in this perpetual loop. And if there's anyone out there that was able to break the loop or even the cycle of burnout, please share your stories and even tips in the comments. I would love to read those. And if you ever feel stuck, just drop by my Twitch, we'll chat, and maybe we can grind together, and I'll make sure to keep you entertained. Hey, yo, chill. That is not what I meant.